Can the rarest Pokemon beat the hardest Pokemon games? At this point in this series of videos I've done going over the rarest encounters, it's quite difficult to tread new ground. Some rare Pokemon are cool, some are okay, some would drive a man to kill, but the Alolan sequels? Sister games? Cash grabs? They've probably got the hardest set of hurdles in a vanilla Pokemon game. And of all the regions so far, it will be the one where team strategy is at its most important. So I am determined to get through this game and become the inaugural Alolan champion, no matter what stands in our way. Does anyone know how to speak Braille? Alright, so the kicker for the Ultra games is that the rarest Pokemon in this run don't actually appear until you've made it quite a bit into the story, specifically on the second island after a few island trials. And as much as I'd hate to skip the starting parts of Alola because it's just such a sharp, tight-knit early game that lets go of my hand the whole time, I just love how free I am, by the way. I'm not even ideating about anything, it ultimately doesn't end up being that interesting. If you're new to this series, I build a Pokemon team around the rarest Pokemon by encounter rate in a game. Starters, gifts, and legendaries are also technically rare, but we're in it for the hunt. This is also dependent on Pokemon evolution lines, and not individual Pokemon. As if you can find a pre-evolution at a much higher encounter rate, then it doesn't count. A lot of people who know about the Ultra games are aware that you have a very low chance of finding a Salamence as early as Route 3 in this game, and while that would be nightmarish to find, as it's a 1 in 10,000 chance of encountering it, thankfully, Bagon, its pre-evolution, can be found at a 10% chance at the Calaíbe, so it technically isn't rare enough for this video. Oh, wait, okay, guys, it seems like a few people might want me to get Salamence, but like, you know, it's like entirely pointless for me to even endeavor to get it, and it just... Okay, so in the background of this video, I will be searching for a Salamence, and we'll check in on Dragon Hunter Luca every now and again to see how he's kicking. But with these prerequisites taken care of, that leaves us with 7 rare encounters for us in Ultra Sun on our way to the second island in Alola. The first of which can be recruited to our team after defeating an island kahuna and 2 island trials. As after obtaining the Water Z crystal from defeating the Totem Araquanid, now our regularly scheduled absolute pummeling can start to commence. In the Alola games, a brand new way to encounter Pokemon is introduced, known as SOS encounters. During a wild Pokemon battle, or against the totem Pokemon, there's a chance for whichever Pokemon you run into to call for help during your fight. Much like honey trees in Platinum or hidden grottos in Black and White 2, this is a unique encounter method to search for Pokemon, with some only being exclusively found via being called for help. And much like the other 2 methods, I feel like I need to repent. This is exemplified somewhat well by the first Pokemon that we end up bringing into our squad, as after painstakingly fishing in the Melemele seas of Alola, we eventually fish up the bait to our true target, Corsola. With moves like Recover, Ancient Power, and Bubble Beam, it can already start to wear your team thin in battle. But if you're ever so lucky, after about 45 minutes, it has the chance to call in a Mareanie. With a 20% chance of finding Corsola at best in this region, it has an additional 33% chance of calling in for help and finding a Mareanie as its ally, a Pokemon notorious for killing Corsola in Pokédex entries, which makes for a pretty cute lore-accurate way to find a Pokemon that I don't think I've ever seen before. It's also, you know, dead annoying to find it, but I will take it. The novelty of acquiring it paired with an Alolan Pokemon of all things being so rare makes for a somewhat electric start to this rare team adventure. And with its evolution Toxapex being a complete menace since its inception, I was already feeling mighty confident as we ventured towards our first proper target of this run, the Fire-type Island Trial. But truthfully, these challenge runs have rekindled my love for collection RPGs like Pokemon, with so much fun collecting and team building before fighting. And if you get a kick out of these videos that involve finding the rarest and coolest Pokemon across the franchise, then you'll love what made this video possible, Raid Shadow Legends. Considering that Pokemon is all about finding the eclectic mix of creatures across a region, Raid manages to match that fun to a T. With its huge array of unique champions that you're able to collect while playing, this gives you ample opportunities to see which you enjoy the most, finding the strategies that feel the most fun, and experimenting with your roster as you dungeon crawl and battle through many campaigns. But unlike other collection RPGs that eventually reach an end to their story, Raid has only been expanding year after year, with 1,000 plus unique champions to come across in your adventures. Despite this, they only continue to invest in the depths of their team building, conquests that you can take yourself on, and ability to become the best player possible, with such a complex PvE system that I personally greatly enjoy. But don't just take my word for it, everyone I know loves this game too. Hey guys, it's me. Hey, it's the real Ash Ketchum here, and I am just so in love with this game. game's graphics. It almost makes me wish I could look as realistic as they do. And I can take a game this deep and pretty everywhere I go, no matter my location. It's just so convenient. With everything this game has to offer, make sure to click my link in the description or scan my QR code to not only start playing Raid today, but to also get amazing bonuses while supporting the channel. Clicking my link means new players will get the legendary and epic champions Karato Foxhunter and Fayne, as well as have access to a legendary champion of your choice, like Sun Wukong, as well as other goodies and the ability to join me in the game too. So thank you to Raid for sponsoring this video, and thanks to all the support I've received over this past year too. It really means a lot. Although this isn't before we get to warm up nice and easily against this weird freak and his purple alien to give Marini a great start to this run. Oh dear. Okay, perhaps a little bit naive on my part, as yes, Toxapex eventually becomes incredible later on in this run, but when your only Pokemon is its pre-evolution, which is a creature largely designed to play defensively, we're not going to be top fragging much with Marini. No, rather we're actually routinely squandered by this unidentified flying ogre, and as I'm desperately trying not to over-level in this run, this just results in the losses stacking up in no time at all. Immediately a chill ran up my spine that we were in for an egregious journey of pain without much reprieve throughout this region. However, this singular battle against some space nonce acts as a pretty great microcosm for what Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are like. Fairly tumultuous squabbles at the best of times, yet littered with so much that the player and Pokemon can do. With some backpedaling to areas that we've already conquered, there's a litany of items and TMs that we can use to improve our chances. I erroneously thought that Poipole was a dragon type at this point in the game, so Frost Breath wasn't the best move to learn here, but it, combined with the TM for Infestation, which does chip damage at the end of every turn, as well as a held Oranberry to heal our Marini from Venoshox, meant that by the skin of our teeth, we were just able to get by a surprisingly painful first challenge for this run. And we only lost more than 0 times. I sure wish I could be the other version of me searching for Salamence right now. I can't lie, I've lost count. I think we've seen like 30. Well, if there's one thing to know right now, is that we would struggle hard with just a Marini at our disposal. This is further highlighted by us entering the 4-way battle royale in this game and getting absolutely dogpiled. Where the f do all you guys get off? Like, come on! So if this game literally and metaphorically wants to bury me under its dearth of sympathy towards the player, then it's a good thing that another rare Pokemon is just around the corner, at the Whaler Volcano Park. And unlike Marini, it's a long-standing Pokemon who's been seen both in this series of videos and the franchise as a whole since the beginning. Kangaskhan. Quite the unexpected return for a rare Pokemon, typically reserved to Safari Zones most of the time, but in Alola, there's 2 ways to run into one of these matriarchs: a 1% encounter by itself in the grass, or a 2.5% chance of it being called into battle by a wild Cubone. Okay, that's genuinely f***ed up. I'd almost feel sorry for Cubone here, being without a parent and receiving help from the motherly Pokemon. If not for the fact that it routinely clubbed me and my Pokemon to death during this long hunt. So orphans stay losing and mothers join the roster. It's also amazing that Kangaskhan complements Marini incredibly well too. One is built for a fairly singular defensive niche with its poison typing and eventual amazing defenses. Meanwhile, the other is a powerful normal type that can learn a smorgasbord of amazing moves across its tutor and TM list. Both should be able to work off of each other fairly well, which is going to be necessary with what stands in our way. As before we can recruit teammate number 3, we have 2 island trials against notoriously powerful creatures, paired with an island kahuna that is equally merciless and outnumbers us much the same. But in all honesty, I was feeling a quiet conviction in what our team could do. Let's take the upcoming fire trial as an example. Against the totem Pokemon Alolan Marowak, admittedly, we did lose on our first attempt of this. However, that was largely in part to the fact that we had to face 2 Pokemon prior to the main totem without getting to heal in between, meaning that the cards were already stacked against us in our initial game plan. When the floor was even, meanwhile, things fell into place rather perfectly. Marini was able to learn Toxic at level 21 to give it unarguably its most powerful tool in its arsenal at such an early stage, which, paired with the move Protect, is basically Stall 101. Considering that totem Pokemon are buffed boss battle variations of pre-existing Pokemon, a move like this that it deals increasingly more damage over time is crucial, and Marini does what it needs to a T. It is an admittedly cheap strategy to also run Protect on our Kangaskhan, but that game plan meant that we could have the totem Marowak fall with one of our duos still in amazing shape, letting Kangaskhan bully the allied Sazzel called into battle for a pretty comfortable major win in this run. It's this sort of thing that makes me hopeful for our team in spite of the difficulty. And after the warm words from Henry Kissinger, we immediately immediately turn to our next objective in the lush jungle for the grass-type island trial. Once we concoct what's needed from us, the totem Lurantis appears with a devilish configuration. Its only bad stat is its rather slow speed, yet as a totem, it basically gets doubled, meaning it's firing on all cylinders. This is paired with the grass-type move Solar Blade, which, with its held power herb, only needs a single turn to just absolutely obliterate Amarini where it's at. Like, we managed to make some headways with Kangaskhan thanks to it teaching the move Fire Punch, but with the power behind Lurantis, alongside an ally Kecleon to set up the sun and increase its danger even further, this wasn't meant to be trifled with. Again though, it didn't feel insurmountable, which is pretty big for us. We're able to backtrack once again to get the Quick Claw item as a potential last resort in case we need the surprise speed over the totem, but the second attempt once again was the minimum necessary for our team to triumph. With some extra levels, Marini is now able to barely survive a Solar Blade on the first turn, laying the Toxic Trap down for Lurantis. On top of that, Lurantis charging up an attack the second turn means that we're able to Toxic the incoming Kecleon too. So while Marini does fall here, Kangaskhan proves herself as up to the challenge in a big way. We can fake out the totem to stop it in its tracks, before tanking a big Solar Blade the following turn, and firing back with a massive sun-boosted Fire Punch. This, paired with the snowballing toxic damage, gives us another clean knockout against the totem, with Kecleon putting up little resistance afterwards. And that's 2 totems taken care of with just 2 Pokemon. Usually I feel like these fights beckon full teams, but here we have incredibly capable creatures of our own to carry us through. Well, at least on the second attempt. Though I'd love to wax lyrical about our successes for the rest of the run, things still aren't perfect for us. Amongst all of the things that the game forces you along that I truly, sincerely do not care about, you have plenty of fights that can catch you off guard. Like I lost to Team Skull's Plumeria the first time in this run. You know, everyone's favourite character? I cannot play coy in this game if I cannot simply put away Plumeria of all trainers. But I think the beauty of these games are continuously reinforced as you go along, as they just give the player so much to work with at every succeeding step of the way to let you experiment with anything in runs like these. And with an imminent fight against the island kahuna Olivia, we need to do everything we can in our arsenal to mitigate this. She carries a trio of rock-type Pokemon, which isn't fantastic for our Kangaskhan, nor particularly to our Marini's advantage. On top of this, island kahunas in this game all carry a Z move in their arsenal, which is basically known as the Oko button, and would wreck shop with whatever stands in its way much of the time. Thankfully, we can find items like the Eviolite on the ground, which is like the best item we could give Marini for free? Alongside this, the slew of TMs by this point in the game is absolutely absurd, and all the merrier for Kangaskhan to work with and wield in battles. So with these things in mind, I have no reservations in my brain that we could step up to Olivia with a handicap in our hand and still defy the odds. I think I'm just going to become a lolcow instead. What I find amazing about these games is that even with the added challenge that you see throughout the entire breadth of this game, a lot of trainers also end up using healing items too. And I don't know why this feels the need to correct my incredibly cheap and one-note strategy, but it did irritate me to no end, as this led to us losing quite a few times to Olivia. We're able to set up a venomous environment with toxic spikes aplenty from Marini, and Kangaskhan knowing Brick Break means that we have a devastatingly powerful move to smash some boulders beneath us as well. But ultimately, Olivia is just able to keep us at bay thanks to her items, as well as just hitting her ult to smush our mother and her child into a small brown stain. It was slightly annoying, to say the least. But mercifully, after a few failures, we get some luck coming our way. Against her lead Anorith, our Marini sticks to Old Reliable with Relentless Poison towards Olivia's Arthropod, stalling the clock out with Protect, and setting up Toxic Spikes for the rest of the team. What's huge for us in this instance, however, is that when Anorith heals, the Water Pulse that we taught Marini manages to confuse it as well. It's a little bit risky to switch into Kangaskhan here, but the coin flip falls in our favour, and it's looking great. Lileep is somewhat routine as usual, with us trading Brick Breaks and Giga Drains until we put it in the dirt, leaving Olivia with just the terrifying Ace Lycanroc, who can just kill us in a single blow. But it just doesn't. So we just put it away with 2 Brick Breaks, giving us a massive victory. I don't know why she decided to throw, though at this point in the run, I'm not going to question it. We've made it through the second island relatively scot-free with our team. It was a painful path to this point, and yes, Kangaskhan did nearly lose the baby. But if you think we had it bad, just check in on me looking for Salamence. Honestly, on reflection, this couldn't be a worse cutaway gag to continuously come back to, because there's nothing to see except right now because Bagon's here. It had been quite the interesting arc so far for us this run. Some painful beginnings looking for our team, and some formidable foes standing in our way, yet we'd managed to prevail at every point. But if there was one enemy I should have expected in this game that's far worse than any trainer, it reared its head big time at this point. the game itself. Like seriously, I'm not trying to dog too much on modern Pokemon games because I'm so subjectively biased for the games I grew up on, but dude, I don't care. Just let my Marini suck on a Corsola, let me take out this weird alien jellyfish in a single shot. Kind of baller, can't lie, Kangaskhan. And let me get to the third island without having to listen to War and Peace unrequited. Domo arigato gozaimasu. It's a shame that this game ends up just feeling so linear and overbearing with its story, because this is easily one of my favorite entries in the franchise, down solely to the challenge it gives you. I mean, we're at the halfway point, give or take, and in our rival fight against Hao, we get smoked. He has 5 Pokemon, 4 of which are no pushovers at this point in the run. It's not a fight we have to win, thankfully, but all the more evidence that this game demands the player keeps up with it. This island also ends up having fantastic answers for our main strategy across the board in a myriad of ways, which spells disaster for the pair of Pokemon we've made it this far with. But Professor Kukui reminds us of this run's goal: the top of the mountain with the rarest Pokemon that you can come by to become this region's champion. So let's lock in. Thankfully, Ula Ula Island is home to 3 new recruits, one of which is just a stone's throw away. Of the 7 rare Pokemon I've come up with for this run, this is definitely the cheapest of the lot, I have to be honest. As you technically have a 40% chance to find this Pokemon, but you have a 1 in 7 chance of which random Minior form that you end up getting. This surely feels like it shouldn't count in this run, given that the Minior in front of us, which ends up being blueberry flavored, is not really a rare Pokemon. And in most cases, I wouldn't consider it as such either. But my counterpoint is that it's my video, and I kind of just wanted to use it on a technicality. It's a cool Alolan Pokemon I don't think I've ever used at any point, nor do I think it would especially shine in the fights ahead. So for now at least, I'm bringing Minior to the next pit stop on our journey, which is the electric type trial. While this game has had quite a few boss battles to test us, it's this one I was dreading the most on the way here. Totem Togedemaru is quite simply the worst matchup for this team, as electric types hit 2 of our Pokemon pretty rough for super effective damage. And the steel typing is not only rough for our normal type, it means it's immune to poison. We can't stick to Old Reliable for this one. Believe me, I felt like I'd prepped somewhat for this one with some TMs prior to this fight. I thought our Pokemon would have it with just the smallest bit of recon to eventually take down this round rodent, but I truly underestimated it. Even in spite of the fact that Togedemaru gets a huge defense boost at the start of the fight, which is our major means of attacking it. Paired with that, this is an incredibly frustrating fight at every turn. Togedemaru wastes your time with it knowing Spiky Shield to protect itself, before calling in an allied Skarmory, who can both double its side speed with Tailwind and cause problems to your team with Stealth Rock. Adding on to all of this, Togedemaru's attacking moves are Iron Head and Zing Zap. Both stab, both 80 base power, and both have a good chance of causing you to flinch. It's honestly a pretty despaired first attempt. The team gets gutted one after the other without much headways, and if this was any other game, I'd feel confident in saying that this run wouldn't be possible without some degree of concession to get past it. But we don't need to worry about that here, because in this game, we can go surfing, baby. By hanging 10 repeatedly in this game, this lets us farm battle points that are incredibly useful for acquiring otherwise uncommon items in this game. A bunch of steroids to improve our Pokemon stats, items to keep our team fighting with some different strategies, move tutors to give us even more options in all of our arsenals. In all of this, we can continue to hope. Don't get me wrong, this fight is still, in many ways, a bit horseshit. A lot of the strategies I tried, whether it be summoning Gravity to hit both Skarmory and Togedemaru with ground-type moves, or setting up Reflect to prolong our team's lifespan, were fun to try out, yet cases where I was overthinking the solution. You can't leave me in the kitchen for too long. What ended up working, as crude as it is some boosted luck. The Scope Lens item raises the chance of a move critical hitting, which bypasses any defensive boosts Togedemaru might have had. This being given to our Kangaskhan, as well as it knowing the move Bulldoze, ended up being a brutish yet brutal solution to wipe out this metallic miscreant, meaning that we were able to topple another totem after another round of losses. Maybe it didn't feel as earned a victory as in other times, yet it still felt somewhat cool to be given the sandbox of tools this game grants you. Like when we get to go all the way to challenge the ghost type totem trial, the game had like, it just kept talking and I didn't care. It still posed a pretty big challenge immediately after the hardest fight so far this run. Mimikyu, much like Togedemaru, has a pretty great typing for our team, as well as stat boosts in every stat prior to the fight, as well as a held Lumberry to heal the first round of Toxic from our Marini. Once again, I lost on my first time round. Mimikyu is powerful, its allies are troublesome, and we didn't have it in us to prevail considering everything that was thrown at us. But once again, we hang 10. Once again, we get some different strategies, and once again, our confidence immediately rebounds in the rematch. On our first turn, we lead with Kangaskhan, who can hit Ghost with its Scrappy ability to fake out Mimikyu and break its disguise on the first turn. Then, the next, it can use its newly learnt Covet to steal the totem's Lumberry, leaving it exposed to Mareanie after switching it in on the following turn. In a tale as old as time, we have to use what we have at our disposal to run out Mimikyu's clock with clever switching and clever moves. I haven't focused too much on Minior so far, but it comes in big here. Not only can it hit Mimikyu with Bulldoze to lower its speed, but when it goes below half health, its ability activates, transforming it from a bulkier, slow creature to a faster, more powerful one. This lets it hit a crucial Iron Head to cripple the last of Marienie's health, that's the wrong Pokemon, to hit the last of Mimikyu's health, before the scraps are once again left at our matriarch. The run so far has been a roller coaster of peaks and troughs, but it's made this game incredibly interesting when we're not being tortured by the story. And from this point on, the game now starts to become flush with the final rarest encounters that we can come across for this run. With 2 left to search for on this island, then the final 2 after we set sail once more. The game talks about how some random little child lost its pet, and my face says everything I think about this, yet this still lets the final portion of the map open up to get our next recruits on the roster. The Fayne Desert is where you'll have a 70% chance of finding a Krokorok amongst the sand. But much like the Corsola and Cubone of the past, we have a small chance for these Crocs to call upon a rare Pokemon 10% of the time. In this case, it's the Unovan Ghost Golem Golett. Nothing in its Pokedex entry, or Krokoroks for that matter, suggests why we're able to get it here in the first place. But this is counteracted by simply having such a cool Pokemon to include on the team. Cool typing, cool lore, rarely used. This team just keeps getting better and better. This is compounded further from a 5% encounter on the outskirts of Po Town. And if you thought that awesome Pokemon from Unova were going to be limited to just the Spectral Soldier that we picked up, you would be surprised. Paired with our eventual golem is the Dark Steel Bishop Pokemon Bishop. What should only otherwise be accessible at level 52 through evolution is able to be found at a much lower level for this point in the run. It reminds me of catching a low-level Salamence in Route 3. But honestly, there's not a crazy amount more that I can say about Bishop that it doesn't physically exude already, right? Killer stats, a killer typing, and a welcome addition to one of the sweetest teams that we've assembled so far, which makes for, as you can probably imagine, a fairly stacked roster for all the pending fights right around the corner. There are some important story beats that are scattered amongst fairly frightening battles in this run, but in our battle against Guzma, our win felt inevitable, especially when our Mareanie, who's been an absolute stalwart in this run, reaches its apex by finally being able to evolve into the incredible Pokemon Toxapex. Things were as good as they could be, and to the game's credit, things still aren't a walk in the park. I don't think they'll ever be, as these games have scaled the difficulty perfectly battle after battle, but the numbers advantage that we're now in possession of comes in clutch here. However, to make things fair against the Island Kahuna Nanu and his triple threat of dark types, I decided our day 1 pair of Pokemon needed to get some quality time on these Alolan beaches, while our newest set of Pokemon step up to the task of taking down a pretty twisted fight in its own right. Or at least that's how I thought it would have been. Bishop, understandably, power creeps Nanu's lead Sableye thanks to its early evolution, with it tanking any of its hits, and crushing it with the move Iron Head in no time at all. Then against Krokorok, we avoid any ground type attacks with Minior before a perfect storm emerges. We're hit by Swagger after setting up Reflect the turn before, which eventually results in our Meteoric Monster's ability activating. Thankfully, the attack boost with the offensive form means a single U-turn is all we need to KO the evil Croc, putting our team in a crazy good position against Nanu's ace Alolan Persian. Even with what should be a guaranteed knockout most of the time, Pawniard can tank the Dark-type Z-move comfortably before doing his service in massively reducing the Black Cat's speed with Scary Face and Low Sweeps. We could have likely just taken it out with our first 2 Pokemon, but it only felt right for Golurk to come in, outspeed it, and destroy it with Dynamic Punch. This wasn't just a victory. That was a categorical manhandling of one of the tougher trainers you can get to this point in the run. An absolutely destructive performance that would give me confidence that this team could crush in any other game. That being said, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are notorious for one reason and one reason only. To the point that, in truth, the fights between now and Infamy are relatively trivial. It's at this point in the game where the true villains start to emerge, and while I definitely didn't just spam A through the Epstein Island saga of this game, you know, I might as well do. The battles against Guzma, Lusamine, and even the Totem Komodo, the dragon-fighting pseudo-legend, do not really offer much interest for us. The 2 foremost fights are routine affairs at this point. We have what we need to prevail, and it's inevitable that we're going to win. But the Komodo fight, considering its typing, doesn't feel that straightforward, if not for the final encounters of this run. As on Pony Island's Pelagos, surfing around on our trusty Lapras gives us access to a Pokemon I couldn't believe is in this game. It's a Lapras. Honestly, a fantastic Pokemon to get, returning once again in the Rarest Team series for a multitude of reasons. Water Ice is an amazing type combination that covers some of the flaws that we'd find in our team, with a really solid set of stats to boot. That made the imminent fight with the Dragon Totem much more of a breeze. In fairness, it wasn't as if we had a terrible team to work with either. Minior is able to pair its awesome ability with the broken newly learnt move Shell Smash, doubling its attack and speed before it gets boosted even further to do massive damage to the pseudo-legend with acrobatics. This alone was the finest hour for our Space Rock, as it lets the rest of our team comfortably tackle the rest of the fighter's health, before our Loch Ness Lapras takes out the allied Noivern with a single Ice Beam. Also, at this point, we can find what is genuinely, I believe, the rarest evolution line in the Ultra games back on Akala Island. The Caves of Lush Jungle, now accessible via the supple hands of our Machamp, lets us run around for a tidy 173 encounters to eventually chance upon the 1% rare Pokemon, Larvesta. Given that this Pokemon doesn't really get to come online until level 58, super late in the day in this game, you won't be seeing a whole lot of this guy until we reach the peak of the mountain in the Pokemon League, if we even get there. As I could go on about how, again, this is an absolutely amazing Pokemon, one of my favourites in the whole franchise. But right now, none of that matters anymore. It's time. On the very small chance that you don't know a lot about this game, this is Necrozma. It's a strange looking goober that manages to control the space line in Solgaleo before challenging us to a battle. But like, our Lapras knows Parish Song, so I guess it wasn't all that tough anyway, guys. Sadly, however, this is merely a shadow of the power that Necrozma becomes. Going through a wormhole to chase down a universe light years away takes us to the eerie, forgotten world of Ultra Megalopolis, a world whose beacons have eroded thanks to the demon of the sky. It would be down to us to take it on to save our world among all the others. Except, Ultra Necrozma is one of the strongest Pokemon in any Pokemon game. It is 10 levels higher than all of our team, and it gets all of its stats doubled at the start of the fight. Looking for Salamence doesn't seem so bad now. Put it this way, there isn't really a genuine way to take this dude down without being able to cheese the fight in some capacity. You can get a Focus Sash to tank at least one hit even when you shouldn't, before hopefully using this single turn to stop a complete steamroll from occurring. Honestly, I was going to try and do this fight somehow with the team at our disposal and without that item, but there isn't a way for us to stand toe-to-toe in a fight so painfully stacked against us. However, and this is a big caveat here, this team has had someone the whole time who can at least hold the line without any gimmicks needed. Though I do some gallivanting on the waves in spite of the emerging apocalypse, these fun flips let us load our Bishop with some PEVs. Performance Enhancing Vrugs. With enough zinc in our Bishop system to harvest its body for parts, this boost to its special defense means everything. Our rematch with Ultra Necrozma, like every other rematch we've had to this point, comes with a plan. Ultra Necrozma's 4 moves are Dragon Pulse, Photon Geyser, Smart Strike, and Power Gem. None of these hit us for normal damage, and that means that our Bishop, with these defensive boosts, can now tank a single hit. This alone lets us lay the poisonous trap that our run has relied on from the start. Yes, it's quite a bit cheap. And yes, in the final island trial against Totem Rabombi, I used Perish Song because I couldn't be bothered to come up with a better strategy. But I think that this singular turn manages to contain everything these Ultra games have made me think. Some of these fights are absolutely absurd, but we have so much to work with, and that's large in part to the rarest team at our disposal. This team is insane. It's easily my favourite team of rare Pokemon I found in a region up to this point, though I'm under no illusions that this run is guaranteed. Even after quickly dispatching of the Island Kahuna Hapu for a victory lap, I did not think that we could sleepwalk to the top of the Pokemon League. Nevertheless, like everything in this run, I believe in the Pokemon at our disposal. Minior gets to take a comfortable rest by the ocean, given how pivotal it was in this run. But the remaining true rarest 6 had just one last major conquest to win over, and make themselves comfy at the peak of Alola, a stacked set of equally powerful Elite Four trainers and a champion fight for the ages. It wouldn't be easy by any stretch, but I've never been more excited to see a team try. Okay. This is going to be a pretty fun one, I think. It's a stacked roster that we've got here. Also, I've kept them all at level 57. But in the case of Larvesta, it's the one that's closest to leveling up, because I do kind of want to make sure I get Volcarona this run. There's no point just delaying it any further, but I know that this is going to be arguably the hardest push for us to become champion. Oh god, the story. Was that me? I forgot how much of a banger the Elite Four theme is for these. Pretty straightforward start here. this Klefki can't really do anything to Golurk, and we have quite the array of moves in our arsenal for steel types. That's the only thing that could be really sort of made an issue, but yeah. Oh yeah, no, not even close. Thankfully though, we've got a move for that. Could go for it again, but I'm just going to hope that it doesn't. Brilliant. That's one down. Pretty terrifying, you know? Like, Bishop has a type advantage against us. But we never miss, and we can land a dynamic punch. Good. Okay, his ace is out already. I don't know if we outspeed. But one, I don't think it matters. And two, is that Hanson? Oh, you fucker! No! I forgot how no guard works. What a piece of shit! You fucking asshole! Oh, I forgot about spikes. It's fine. Lapras has good capabilities here, and we never miss because we tank these like it's nothing. Oh. Okay, good. We hit. Good. I was hoisted by my own petard with no guard there, but that's his ace down. However, he's got a formidable team still in the back. If only I had a bullshit move to use. Ah. It's taken me until now to realize that the baby Pokemon also attacks, and I think that that's cute. Let's hope that Night Slash gets the kill. Okay. Ah. Okay. Don't have a great answer for you. Guess Break. Oh, okay. Never mind. I do have a... Okay, that's just BM. Also, it going for Screech there it is the stupidest play Mullane could have made. Well, this was undeserved. So long, Bowser. Very, very straightforward, thankfully. This is another type that I think we have a really, really strong matchup with, thankfully. We've got Bishop, we've got Golurk, we've got even Kangaskhan. Still, it's not to be trifled with, because it is a tough fight. Acerola has the chance to do the funniest thing. If she goes for Screech here, which is unlikely, but if she does, then she's absolutely screwed herself. Oh, how much does this do? Pretty respectable damage. You know what? To be on the safe side, I'm just going to farm for one more chance at Screech. It could happen. Just one more chance. It was a silly play, but still does a lot of damage. Is there any reason to keep this guy? No, not really. It's more interesting anyway. Unless we crit here, I don't think there's any chance we take it out. That was a crit as well. Okay. Turnabout is fair play. What do I do against you? With its speed stat, there's no need for us to even risk going for Hydro Pump. Yeah, definitely not. Oh, that is filthy, man. But not going to toy with it. So initially I was terrified of Delmise because it has an insane, like an insane attack stat for a Pokemon. You wouldn't think of it to have otherwise. For some reason its only physical move here is Slam. Hey look, can't lie, that did more than I expected it to, but We're still over halfway through. I don't have brilliant answers to you in theory. And I could go for Perish Song. But that's just so... like, that's just so cheap. Yippee! Oh wait, can they switch out? Well, I guess we'll find out if they can switch out or not. Okay, so they surely go for Shadow Ball, so... right, switch it, otherwise we go for Fake Out. Yeah, makes sense. Could have just gone for the crunch there, but didn't want to risk it backfiring. What? Oh, sorry, I got a bit confused. Drifblim actually can't hit Kangaskhan, so doesn't bode well for her now. Pretty strong performances from the team, all in all. Larvest is also there. And for Elite 4 member number 3, I'm going to go with the tried and true, I think. Hey everyone, it's editor Luca here. So not only did I start putting together this part and then Premiere Pro decided to crash on me, it was just a bit boring. Stall understandably doesn't make for the best entertainment for this run. So thank you for still watching, by the way. I appreciate it. I don't know how to end these. Toxapex reigns supreme, but most importantly though, Larvesta's level 59. I mean, even though we've barely used it, dude, Volcarona is so sick. So initially for this fight, I had this really cool strat where I would use Toxapex again, and I would use Stealth Rock. I forgot to teach it, so. Ever reliable Dark Knight comes in once again here. Because although this should hurt a fair bit... oh, goodness. That does a lot. Okay, we luck out. We hit. Oh. Okay. Great job. First one down. And you are a problem. I think you just outspeed us. And I don't see a whole lot of other use here. So let's hope we outspeed. Oh, we do. Okay. Never mind. Maybe flinch? Nah. Fair dues. Right. What better time than now to get a debut, Volcarona? And I forgot. I taught it Psychic. Okay, that's smarts. We just go for the burn here, I think. Yeah. We are like ultra dead, but we do have flame body, so we might luck out. Yes. Lapras, even though it's quite a late acquisition, has just turned up in every fight, and I don't expect this to be much different. You bugger. Come on, you don't fall for this nonsense. Breakthrough. Oh, okay. Out of the rabbit hole. I mean, Flatter was low-key the best move we could have had there, to be fair. Because if we break through now... okay, right. We were outsped, but for some reason, Kahili didn't see it to attack us. Oh, dude. I think we have to go down here, actually. What? Why would you go for the Z move, bro? Lapras, break out, man. God! Take back what I said, bro. You shat the bed on that one. Come on, Toxapex. Oh, okay. This is pretty money. This is pretty money. We need Toxapex to just hold the line. The Calpo! Okay. Just barely. I'm going to hope it goes for Beak Blast. Never mind. Let's pull for something even more annoying. Oh, good dodge, good dodge. And Scald? Burn? No, not yet. Come on, we can handle this. Ah, man. That's fine. Burn it, come on. Nice. Oh, it's a little bit too late, actually. Although, it does mean we can safely bring in another Pokemon. No, I don't know. It's tight, actually. This is tough. I'm actually going to commit to the Scald again. Come on. Come on. 30% chance. Come on. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's only natural for the Master of the Poison to wield another status in its arsenal, and that, I think, might be game. Okay. Good tank. Now, we use this to set up. Done. Love that. And that is a pretty tough Elite Four handled with style. I am very happy with our team performance through that, but we're far from done. I'm really worried about this champion fight, bro. Oh, nice. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate all the support I've been having recently. We had a great 2025, and I just think that... time to face off against a pretty strong champion battle. How's got a awesome team of 6, and I believe in our team of 6. Here we go, bro. Right, this was a bit of a risky play because I could have absolutely guaranteed a KO with Golok, but I wanted Volcarona to really kick us off on a strong bit here because it has a pretty killer moveset, I think, for this fight. And so, with its newly learned Quiver Dance, I think we're in a great spot. Good tank. Nice. Okay. So hopefully we outspeed and hopefully we kill with Signal Beam. I would have taught it Bug Buzz, but it doesn't learn it, so. Okay, we outspeed. Come on. Beautiful. Such a good start. There we go. What's next? Come on, man. I guess it must have like a rock type move on us. This just... Okay, right. How decided to in? You know, he knows the... We're pulling ahead, but he's going to throw something at us now to make it much more of a triumphant battle. Right, okay. We don't actually have an answer for Noivern, so this is not great for us. I think it's time. Come on, Kanga. Good tank. Here we go. Nice little bit of chip damage, and we know Outrage, which I don't know if it will kill or not. I don't think it will, but it should do enough to put our team in a good spot. Oh, that's filthy. That is filthy, man. Come on. Beautiful. That's so good. That's so undeserved. Oh, Gen 1 Rare versus Gen 1 Rare. And the Intimidate. Okay, right. I think Kangaskhan might met its maker here. Ooh, yep. Ooh, okay, look. It went the distance. Alas, you can't win them all, Kanga, but thank you for all your help this run. Now, if only we had a Pokemon that was the perfect answer for Taurus. You eat this just for breakfast, bro. Look at that. Look at that. And you always always hit these. There we go. We're more than halfway done. Quad resist. Come on, flame body for the boys. Yeah, dude. That is so beast mode. Okay, right. Do we want to do anything funny? Not particularly. Let's just go with the good old... Okay, brilliant. Right, well look, I can't lie. I was expecting this fight to be much more of a turbulent back and forth. Barring Kanga, doesn't look like it's the case. Oh, slightly punished for that. But that is 5 down. I knew once our team had come together that we had an immaculate rare team, but it has gone the distance this whole game. And just one Pokemon stands between us and the top. In no world does this signal beam kill, but wouldn't it be great if it got the confusion? Oh, okay. Hey, it did more than I thought it would. Thank you for coming, Volcarona. Well, let's go down memory lane for a little bit, shall we? It was this run that started with Marini, and it only feels fitting for the expertise of this Pokemon to finish it up. But we couldn't have done it alone. We needed Golurk at one point. It truly showed up when we needed to in the Elite Four, and for that I'm massively grateful. But it wasn't just Golurk. Bishop at the same time was massive for us. A fantastic typing and arguably the centerpiece of what saved Alola and every other world. Truly phenomenal. And we still have one more. Lapras was... I mean, we got it quite late as well, but like, you know, we needed Lapras for this. Oh, Jesus Christ, Jesus! But while this looks all of a sudden very perilous for us, why don't we just sing a lovely song? How might have elected to stick to healing bullshit, but we've got our own bullshit in the back too. I apologize to everyone watching for wasting your time, but I'm going to waste your time for 3 more turns. Classic switch and stall. This should sting, but still nowhere near enough. Ah, well, I guess the question is, can our Toxapex stay alive and hit one last Toxic for the road? Oh, it can. The run starts as it ends through some pretty cheesy plays. And you know what? I wouldn't have had it any other way. We are the first Alolan champions in what was a pretty sensational late game run. We are Alola's first ever champion, everyone. And what a star-studded team. But while I'm surrounded by the amazing friends that I made along this wonderful journey, as always, I've still got to find that Salamence, bro. Ooh! Finally! Finally. Okay. So that's the relatively easy part done. Now for the hard part. Here we go. Here we go. First time Salamence. Oh boy. Dude! Oh my god. We finally found it. Oh, a 1 in 10,000 dragon. Right, okay, let's be careful. Okay. Okay, big damage. And we are boosted, but I don't think a karate chop ever gets the kill. Oh, nowhere near. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. Oh my god, it's just gone to night time. If that's not a better indication of how long we've been here, then I don't know what is, bro. Okay, nice. It's time to get us a Salamence. I ran out of Pokeballs. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks to Raid again for sponsoring this video. Use my link in the description or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses for new players with a legendary and epic champion.